Arachnophobia is one of the most common phobias in the world and is extremely over-dramatized by almost everyone. In the Western world alone, 55% of women and 18% of men claim to have a fear of spiders. However, despite how accurate these statistics may be, there is no denying that people enjoy seeing giant spiders in movies, television, and video games. So why do people enjoy watching spiders so much on screen, but run away in fear whenever they encounter one in person? Part of the reason is due to curiosity. People fear strange-looking things that they aren't entirely familiar with, and most movies capitalize on this by incorporating things people fear into their stories, such as giant spiders. I myself was fascinated with spiders in movies from a young age, and that fascination more or less allowed me to eventually become desensitized to spiders in real life. Well, most of them anyway. So the purpose of this video is to show you my top 5 giant movie spiders. The word giant is key here, so movies like Horrors of Spider Island and Kingdom of the Spiders will be excluded, despite how many arachnids are in their stories. I will also be excluding shitty spider flicks such as Eight-Legged Freaks and this abomination. Anyway, let's begin with number 5, Aragog from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan of all time, however I saw this at a young age and couldn't resist putting it somewhere in the list. Aragog is the huntsman-like spider owned by Hagrid and dwells in the forest near Hagrid's home. The only issue I have with Aragog is the voice. I understand that the character is able to speak, because it's in the magical world of a young orphan wizard child. However, I can't help but feel disappointed when I hear a giant intimidating spider speaking clear English. It definitely ruins the effect of something which is essentially thought to be a giant creature that can't be reasoned with. The spider design itself is very well done, and I think the animatronic only adds to the realism. The clearly defined bristles and black gleaming eyes only adds to a better experience whilst watching. If the creature was a CGI design, it wouldn't have the same effect, and would have probably ended up looking something like this. The animatronic used for Aragog in the movie is now on display at the Making of Harry Potter Studios in Leavesden.
Seriously misunderstood creatures spiders are.
Number 4, the Queen Spider from Arachnophobia. This one was almost impossible not to include due to how well known the ending of the film is. The movie is about a family home which gets infested with spiders. The family try all kinds of methods to eradicate them, but their attempts prove futile when they discover just how outnumbered they actually are. They even call an incompetent exterminator, which only proves to be a big waste of time. The main attraction though is at the very end of the movie, the confrontation with a giant animatronic spider. Although it isn't the biggest spider on the list, it's certainly one of the most frightening due to its unexpected jump scare in the attic scene, which seems to take audiences off guard upon watching the film for the first time. The animatronic used for the spider also looks amazing and is definitely satisfying to look at due to all the other spiders in the film being actual spiders. Number 3. Steering away from the practical effects now. Here we have the Tarantula from the 50s science fiction film Tarantula. The movie is about a scientist who conducts experiments on different types of animals in order to make them genetically stronger and larger in size. The animals involved in these experiments include guinea pigs, rabbits, and of course, a giant tarantula. Didn't this scientist realise that giving a predator such as a tarantula maximum strength could prove inevitably, problematic to the entire human race? Anyway. Later the spider breaks free from the scientist's lab and progressively grows to its new surroundings. In terms of effects, there's nothing really too special here. However, most 50s B movies are exactly the same. It's essentially enlarged footage of a tarantula laid onto another piece of footage in order to make it seem like a giant spider is roaming the earth. But if it looks so dated, why am I even including it on the list? Well, I like the film for what it is, and I think the visual effect used is very well done for its time. In fact, I think the footage of a giant tarantula terrorizing a city and ransacking a farm in search of live food is already terrifying enough, but the fact that it's shot in black and white only adds to the creepiness and engraves the image deeper into the mind. Just the concept of a spider being 100 feet tall is already daunting, but this movie visualizes that nightmarish thought and definitely succeeds in doing so. Besides, this is one of the better B movies from the 50s, and I'm glad there's at least one good one which includes a giant spider. There is another one from 1958 simply called The Spider, however it's not as good and it definitely didn't have the same effect on me as Tarantula. Number 2, the spider from the deleted spider pit scene in the original King Kong. The original King Kong had some of the greatest practical effects for its time, and certainly set the barrier for future stop motion animators. Willis O'Brien worked on the animation side of the film and became a big inspiration for future filmmakers, including Ray Harryhausen, who he worked with on the effects for Mighty Joe Young. King Kong features some of O'Brien's best work, however there's one deleted scene which is arguably one of the greatest deleted scenes of all time. The scene not only features a fantastic stop-motion spider, but also features a giant iguana along with a giant crab creature. When I think about it, no wonder this scene was removed from the original feature. There appears to be just too much happening in one scene, which makes the whole thing seem kind of random and out of place. The scene is very hard to find, and there are very few DVD editions known to have it included in the special features. I definitely consider it to be one of the best scenes from the original Kong film, partly because of how bizarre it is, but most of all because of the giant spider. It wouldn't surprise me if this is the first stop-motion spider to exist in film. I do know that stop-motion animation was practiced a lot way before O'Brien began making it popular, but it's still a possibility. Number 1, Shelob from The Return of the King. Surprised that my number 1 choice is a giant CGI spider? Well, I just couldn't resist. I watched the Lord of the Rings movies from an early age, to the extent where I became completely immersed with the beautiful fantasy world which Tolkien created. I already had an odd fascination with the uncanny appearance of spiders, so seeing Shelob for the first time at a young age completely blew my mind. Shelob is the most dominant offspring of Ungoliant, a giant spider who featured in the Silmarillion novel. By the way, the Silmarillion is considered to be the Bible of Middle-earth amongst Tolkien fans. In the book, Shelob first appeared in The Two Towers, however Peter Jackson incorporated her appearance into the final movie of his film trilogy in order to add another obstacle for Frodo and Sam to face before concluding their journey in Mount Doom. Shelob's appearance resembles that of a giant Black Widow spider, and is described in the novel to be knobbed and pitted with corruption, but ever thickened from within with layer on layer of evil growth. The design of Shelob is incredible, and her movements are extremely lifelike to that of an actual spider. When Frodo and Sam are deceived by Gollum and left to wander the tunnels of Shelob's domain, you can't help but feel an overwhelming sense of doom for the main characters, as it's obvious just how much danger they've delved into. Anyway, those are my top 5 favourite movie spiders. I've wanted to make this video for quite a while now, as I personally love seeing giant spiders in film. I could have also included many others, but I feel this list is more accurate to my own subjective opinion. I could have also included the giant stop-motion spider at the end of Stephen King's It. It looks like something created by either Willis O'Brien or Harryhausen, but I don't think it comes close to anything mentioned on this list for me personally. And besides, I'm not a huge fan of how that film ends anyway. It's a shame that the art of stop-motion animation is dying out. I would definitely like to see more stop-motion spiders on the big screen. However, due to the way technology is developing, I doubt there will be anything like what we've seen already in previous films. Let me know what your favourite movie spider is, if you have one anyway. And thanks for watching.